I don't care what news site you pick. Pick any of them. I don't care if it's left-leaning, right-leaning, does not matter.
Doesn't matter what country it's from either.
Spend 10 minutes on it, and the quality of the writing, if you have any brain whatsoever, will shock and disappoint.
Okay. Language evolves, it always has. Vocabulary shifts, slang cycles, tones adapt. That's not new. What feels different now is the erosion of structural discipline in professional writing. We're seeing sentence fragments that never resolve, paragraph length run ons stitched together with commas, and stream of consciousness pacing in places that are supposed to inform, not journal. This isn't about texting. It's not about casual speech. It's about paid professional communication. In systems like law, structure matters, procedure matters, presentation matters. If someone shows up to court in a graphic t-shirt and says they couldn't afford anything nicer, most people instinctively understand that context and standards still apply. I know you guys have discussed such things on the other show. It's not about wealth, it's about recognizing the environment you're in. So the conversation isn't whether language changes, it's whether professional standards are being quietly lowered and whether speed, platforms, and digital incentives are driving that shift. So the question becomes, when structural discipline fades from professional communication, does credibility fade with it?
Sounds like someone's been reading my emails.
Perhaps.
This is actually a pet peeve of mine, so I figured I'd spin it into a discussion.
No, it's a good.
Do I have to go on about your 2 and 2?
There,
the things. Yeah, there and there. Oh, just come on. The basics of language. Oh my goodness. Yeah.
Yeah, nobody really understands how to speak anymore, or write, or communicate. It's like ugh stuff.
Yeah.
Hulk smash.
Right?
Yeah.
You said, are they quietly lowering standards? There's nothing quiet about this.
It's not
I mean,
quiet.
this is we've talked before. I don't remember if we've done it here in the blind, but we've done it over at TCF. We've discussed the enshittification of the world. This is yet another example of the enshittification of the world. I don't care what news site you pick any of them. I don't care if it's left-leaning, right-leaning, does not matter.
Doesn't matter what country it's from either.
Spend 10 minutes on it, and the quality of the writing, if you have any brain whatsoever, will shock and disappoint.
Mm-hmm.
It's so bad. It's horrible. It's evil. It's wrong.
It is. Now, in fairness, it's been this way for a while. This isn't exactly a new thing.
No.
Look, so newspapers have been written at about a 6th grade level. When I was a kid, they were, that was what I was told anyway. They were written at a 6th grade level, which made sense because even as a kid, I could easily read the newspaper. It wasn't, there wasn't a lot of words in there that were difficult to understand. Now, I think the only difference is I think there's more of this sort of, as Dan says, enshittification of the whole language in general. Like, for example, irregardless is now a word, which I can't tell you. I know this probably is like a nothing burger to just about everybody out there, but to me, I hear that word and I wince as bad as if I tried to move my bad arm. I mean, it's like, it is, it sucks. I mean, just certain words just bother you, and I know, and look, and in most settings, like when I email people, it doesn't matter. I don't speak in completely professional terms. I don't always use the best possible language all the time or whatever. It depends on who I'm corresponding with, and texts obviously are different, but you still try to have some degree of decorum. You still try to have some semblance of decency in how you communicate with people. So I don't know.
Huh.
You can definitely tell. And then when you listen to younger generations talk, and again, I know this sounds like old guy speak, but it is.
We're old guys. It's fine.
Well, right. But I mean, it's like everything is bro. I mean, every sentence, bro is like the punctuation to the sentence. Check it out, bro. I went to the mall, bro. And then like, bro, you should have seen it, bro. Like, how many bros can you
Here in SoCal?
Yeah.
It's
great.
You were
great, eh?
Yeah, you were halfway to Jim Rome right there.
Halfway to Jim Rome. SoCal. The pimpity box.
I don't even know what to say. It
is
so bad.
No,
When
it
I was
really
in high
is.
school, it was the Valley Girl thing. Everything
Oh my
was,
God.
oh my God, like
gag me with a spark.
So I was like this, and then I was like that. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, irregardless of what we have for dinner tonight, we're going to have to unthaw it first.
de-thaw.
Unthaw. Or
De-thaw.
de-thaw. Yes. My grandma.
De-thaw was the Toledo variant. It was unthaw in West Michigan.
Certain things have evolved in our language for the better. Okay. So when I would talk to my grandma, okay, she would say, oh, I went to the store and this nice Oriental lady helped me. Like, Grandma, we don't say Oriental anymore. Well, whatever, So certain terms have changed, and we're a little bit more sensitive to certain things, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing, but I think there's a lot of other words and phrases, and just kind of I go around and I hear 6, 7 everywhere, and I still don't understand what it means. I
Nobody
still don't
does,
get
Michael.
it, and no one can explain it. And it is definitely a if there was I can't even describe. When I try to think about it, when I try to put it into words, my brain blue screens. It just does. It just goes bloop. There it is. The blue screen of death comes in. It is. If there's one thing that is enigmatic of our current culture, that's it. Oh, sure. When we were kids, we said dumb things or words that didn't make a lot of sense, radical and all that stuff. But I mean, at least that was a real word, and there was a purpose to it. I mean, yeah, it sounded kind of weird, but hey, man, that's radical, bro. Like a cold deed, like whoa. I get it, but just running around saying a number is, and somehow people understand what you're saying, even though they don't. That to me is just race to the bottom. What are we doing? What's going on? I don't get it.
I've written down 3 different thoughts here, but you talk about a race to the bottom. We're 11 minutes in now. I can swear. Hasn't the fact that the word fuck become noun, verb, adjective, adverb, preposition?
That happened when I was younger, though.
Yeah, well, whenever it happened, but hasn't the fact that this is like the main word everybody uses, hasn't that completed the race to the bottom? I mean, we talk about.
Oh no, it can get worse.
So is this a shot at me from
No,
before we came on the air?
No, it's not. But
I was definitely using it, I think, as just about all of those, including a period, exclamation point, and question mark. Fuck.
But Adam Sandler did this
Yes,
whole
yes.
piece on this
Mhm.
bit where he lists out all of the different ways that you can use that word, and he listed out like every possible way, and then at the end he's like, talking about how this word really shows when you use it properly just how intelligent you are and all this kind of stuff. But it was hilarious. But I think part of the problem is we've lost an ability to truly express ourselves using like real people words. So we default to this BS stuff. And I think some of that, honestly, Michael, traces back to what you were talking about with like the elimination of some words. Like we don't use Oriental anymore. Why? I mean, is it really that offensive? Is it really so bad? We keep saying, well, we can't say this and we can't say that. And we can't do this. And we can't do that. We eliminate so many things. I think it makes communication harder to the point now
Well, maybe
where it's
because
devolved so much.
Yeah.
We've gone back to hieroglyphics.
Well, yeah,
And
we
grunts.
use emojis for
Yeah.
everything.
It's emojis everywhere. And I'm guilty of using it on TCF. I use emojis and titles a lot. And you know why I do it? The algorithm favors it.
Yeah, I will occasionally use a smiley face emoji or something. That's about as far as there are some people when you like, I've seen it in comments. I've seen it all over the place on Twitter and it's mostly emojis. And I always say, I can always tell the intelligence of the person I'm dealing with by the number of emojis, especially the laugh cry emoji. And if they spam it 66 times at the end of a sentence, like somehow they view that as like a burn or something. Oh man, you're going to need aloe after that because I just hit you with the laugh cry emoji. Like, okay, I guess you got me. Sick burn, bro. But no, I don't understand. There's a lot of stuff I guess, but you're right, Dan. I guess the elimination of some words, and I know sometimes it's in the best intention category. Again, the Oriental thing, it's also a different time. And, you know, I don't want to make it a racial thing per se, but this is just one of those things where my grandma, because I always default to the terms my grandma used. She would always refer to people of color as colored. And I would just say, well, grandma, that's not what we say anymore. But she goes, well, in my day, that's what we said. And it's like, okay, I mean, that's fair. And it's not to chastise. It's just words and culture does change. And that's okay. But yes, I guess eliminating so much stuff, sometimes you just sit there and you want to sort through your brain for the right word to say so that you don't dare offend anybody anymore, because that is obviously the worst thing you can do. You are worse than Mussolini if you say the wrong thing, especially extemporaneously. Oh my God, if you, and you're forever hit with the scarlet letter, you know, it's like, okay, well, I have to search and make sure I say the PC thing. So there's definitely an element of that. And that's why maybe we should just try to lighten up a little bit. But at the same time, there should still be a minimum standard where something like 6'7" doesn't just catch on through the culture for no apparent reason. I mean,
so specifically though,
it's on fleek though, Beth.
So specifically though, in professional communication, do you guys think that the credibility has started to fade along with the communication change?
Without
credibility's been gone for a long time, especially with mainstream media. Nobody trusts them anymore. And again, I don't care which side you're looking at. If you're looking at Fox News or CNN,
but
nobody trusts them.
Partially because of the communication. I mean, you could blame it on a lot of things, right? But I'm just asking what the connect there is specifically, since that's our question.
The communication is they're not communicating the way that their job requires them to. They're news people. They're supposed to report the news. So give me the facts of what's going on, the who, what, when, where. That's what they should be communicating. But what they communicate is the why based upon their opinion. And they do it poorly because everything is misspelled, ... There's like no editorial control over anything anymore, probably because the editors don't know how to effing write either. Probably
because they don't, they're not employed anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's just, there's certainly no standard. And I think that that when you combine that with the fact that they forgot what their job is, and that's to give us the who, what, when, where. Yeah, I think hand in hand, it just totally takes down all credibility. I think that the lack of structure and quality writing is certainly part of it, but it's also the approach to the job. I think they go hand in hand.
So I've got a lot of thoughts on that, Dan. So not that I disagree, but is it chicken and the egg? Because are they doing that because the audience is, let's be candid here, there's a larger education gap that's out there, and they're playing to the larger gap of people, or they're trying to play to the lowest common denominator. And so is the writing getting worse and the reporting getting worse because what people want to see is whatever it is they're doing, or is it they're doing that and it's encouraging people to think less, or is it a little bit of both? Like, what is it exactly?
Well, I think that media definitely plays to the lowest common denominator. We see it not only in the writing, but we see it in music as well, where songs are now written to like a third grade level with less words, everything being repeated over and over again, because it's catchy and people can wrap their brains around it and all this kind of BS. So yeah, I think catering to a lower common denominator is certainly part of it, but I would challenge the validity of that business model long term. Now, I am nowhere near the level of a mainstream media company. But if we look at what we've built in a year over on the other channel, tell me that community isn't thriving, at least in part, because of the fact that I have an ability to communicate sensibly using like big boy words and saying what I mean and not pandering to the lowest common denominator of the audience.
Yeah,
I
would agree with that.
I don't think that that model works long term, and I think it plays out too. I mean, people are revolting against mainstream media in big ways right now. Not only I think because of the message that they're giving on either side of the argument, but also as well in how they communicate. They sound stupid. They just do.
And I on my channel, it's the same deal with the weather. We do more in-depth weather discussion, and I don't talk down to the audience because I know my audience, they're a bunch of weather geeks and nerds, and they are smart folks, and I don't need to talk down to them. And I know that for the most part, they're good folks that understand the messaging, and if they don't, they just ask questions. And I think that's a part of society that we've lost too, is the ability to be somewhat introspective or inquisitive and look for answers. We want to just find the easy answers, and we want to just see it in this blurb, and that's why things get shorter. Listen, music there's always been bad music that has terrible lyrics. I mean, Yellow Submarine is maybe one of the worst songs ever. And that's long before, that's 53, 54 years ago that came out, I think, or something. So, but that said, songs are shorter today, and that plays into, part of that is because it's all for the TikTok crowd, because that's where a lot of music kind of stems from now. A lot of musical trends anyway stem from TikTok, sad as that is, and shorts and all this other kind of stuff. We want blurbs, we want shorter things. And so music, which used to be 5-6 minutes, and some songs were much longer than that, even in the 70s and 80s, and you had guitar solos and keyboard solos and drum solos and all sorts of individual expression, because people really wanted to showcase their talent. And now it's all just automated and beats that they buy off of SoundCloud. And it's just a lot of, it's maybe one verse and a refrain and then some and and, yo, 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 and all that stuff. And that's where it ends. and then that's, it's like they have, Terrible Song Wizard 3.0 and they just plug and play and that's it. So.
Well, and ah and oh just kind of sum up where we're at right there.
Yeah.
Kind of perfectly. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, and again, there's always been bad songs, and there's always been kind of, but I do feel like the quality, though, there's not as much real instrumentation in songs anymore. They're not nearly as long. They're not nearly as expressive. And there's still some good music out there, don't get me wrong, but it's just, there's a flood of bad stuff. And, some of it is because music is easier to make now. Everybody has a computer and access to digital audio workstations and can put it out there on YouTube or any sort of social media, wherever, whenever, however. And, it's now a game of quantity versus quality.
Yeah, I was just about to say, just because you can do something does not mean that you should do something.
No.
There are just people out there that should not be writing. They should not be presenting. They should not be doing music. Do it as a hobby, but not to like be professional at it or make money. I think, as we wrap up this question, I think the biggest problem is that the people who are the pros at writing, they're not really pros. I think there are people in that job that have no business being there. They weren't taught right. They don't have standards for themselves. But isn't that the case with so many things, I suppose? The lack of standards. I don't know. You, Michael?
I agree. I really do. This is one of those pretty simple agreement.
Yay. I don't know if we answered your question well or not, but we had thoughts on it.
Yeah,
we that one could have definitely gone on longer.
We could go on for
that's
hours
its own show. That could be its own channel.
We could have charts and schematics.
Oh my God. Yeah, we could have Ross Perot'd that up pretty good.
Oh yeah. Hey, thanks for watching. In the Blind is a news show for Mike and me, and we'd really love it if you could hit the subscribe button, do a thumbs up, leave a comment. All of those things really help this channel get found by other people, so we'd really appreciate the support. Thanks so much.